They live without electricity, yet their homes stay 40 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the outside air, even in 120 degrees heat. And here's why it matters. These secrets could slash your energy bill this summer. Stick around. You're about to learn something most people don't know. Hey everyone! I spent the last week diving deep into Amish communities, talking to historians, and reviewing old farming journals. What I found? A set of forgotten genius tricks that keep homes cool without AC, some dating back centuries. In this video, I'm showing you 10 real, working methods they use to beat extreme heat, many of which you can try at home. From reflective roofs to vine-covered walls and underground cooling rooms. These aren't just quirky traditions. They're smart science hiding in plain sight. Before we dive in, have you ever noticed something unusual your grandparents or neighbours did during summer that actually kept things cool? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your observations. Number 1. House placement and natural shade. Let me take you back to something most of us never think about, where your house sits on the land. You might not have chosen the exact spot your home was built on, but the Amish do, and they don't do it randomly. They study the sun. They watch how it moves across the sky all year long. Then they pick the perfect place to build, one that naturally stays cooler. Think of it like choosing shade at the beach instead of baking in the sun. Only this is for your whole house. The Amish often place their homes facing east or southeast. That way, they catch the morning sun but avoid the brutal afternoon rays. And here's the kicker. They plant trees. Lots of them. But not just anywhere. They plan it out like a chess game. Tall, leafy trees are planted on the west and south sides of the house. That's where the sun hits hardest in the afternoon. Those trees act like nature's umbrella. It's not magic, it's strategy. Some families even grow vines along trellises next to windows. As summer rolls in, those vines bloom out and block sunlight before it turns your living room into an oven. Even better, trees and plants release moisture into the air. That actually cools the space around them. So it's not just about blocking the sun. It's about creating a cooler microclimate around your home. Now, if you're thinking, I can't just move my house, I get it. But you can still use this trick in smaller ways. Ever notice how one room in your house is always hotter than the others? Chances are, it faces the wrong direction or gets too much sun. You can fix that with smart planting. A few well-placed trees or shrubs can make a huge difference over time. Or try installing awnings or solar shades on the windows that get hit by afternoon sun. Even setting up a temporary canopy or shade cloth over a patio or window can help keep things cooler inside. Here's another thing. The Amish know that heat doesn't just come from the sky. It reflects off the ground too. That's why they avoid building on large slabs of concrete or asphalt. Those surfaces soak up heat and blast it right back at your walls. Instead, they use grass, dirt, or gravel around their homes. These materials stay cooler and don't radiate heat like hard surfaces. So if your house is surrounded by a blacktop driveway or a concrete backyard, that's part of why it feels like a sauna in there. Switching it up with some greenery or lighter coloured ground cover can reduce that bounce-back heat. This isn't complicated science. It's just working with nature instead of fighting it. And when done right, good house placement and natural shade can drop indoor temps by 10, 20, even 30 degrees without flipping a switch. 2. Cross-ventilation plus DIY wind catchers. Let's talk about something we all have but rarely think about. Air movement. You can have the coolest shade in town, but if the air inside your house is stuffy and stagnant, you're still going to feel like you're living in a soup pot. That's where cross-ventilation comes in. And trust me, the Amish have this down to an art form. It's not just about opening a window, it's about opening the right windows at the right time, so air can flow through your home like a river. Think of it like breathing. Your house needs to inhale cool air and exhale hot air. Otherwise, it just sits there. Baking. The Amish build their homes with this in mind. They place doors and windows so that when they're open, they create a path for fresh air to move from one side of the house to the other. And if nature isn't giving them enough breeze, they help it out with something called a wind catcher. Now, I know that sounds like something out of a pirate movie, but it's actually super simple. A wind catcher is basically a wooden or metal structure built on the roof. It looks like a little chimney with flaps or slats. When the wind blows, it catches it and funnels it down into the house. At the same time, another window or vent lets the hot air escape. It's like having a natural AC system. No wires, no noise, no electric bill. You don't need to build a full-on wind tower to get results. Even a box fan in a window can do wonders. Place one fan to pull in cool air from the outside and another near a door or opposite window to push the hot air out. Boom! Instant airflow. And here's a pro tip. Open lower windows to bring in cooler air and higher windows or attic vents to let the hot air escape. Hot air rises, right? So give it a way out, and cool air will naturally replace it. Even better, use ceiling fans to keep things moving indoors. They don't actually lower the temperature, but they make it feel cooler by moving the air across your skin. This whole process costs nothing but a few minutes of your time each day, and it can drop your indoor temp fast. So before you crank up the AC, try cracking a few windows and see what happens. You might be surprised how much of a difference it makes. 3. Thermal mass cooling. Now we're going underground, literally. The Amish don't just build houses, they build homes that work with the earth to stay cool, even when the sun is relentless. And one of their best-kept secrets? Thermal mass cooling. It sounds fancy, but it's really about using heavy, dense materials like stone, brick or packed earth to soak up heat during the day and release it slowly at night. So while your modern home might be bouncing between oven-level heat and icy AC blasts, theirs stays steady, calm, and shockingly comfortable. Think of it like a thermos. You pour hot coffee in, and hours later, it's still warm. The walls absorb and hold the heat, and the same idea works in reverse for cooling. Amish homes often have thick walls made from natural materials. These act like a sponge for temperature, soaking up the chill at night and keeping it inside during the day. But here's where it gets even cooler. They also use root cellars. You've probably heard the term, but do you know what a real one looks like? It's like a mini basement built into the ground, sometimes under the house, sometimes off to the side. It's dark, it's damp, and it's deliciously cool, even in July. They used these spaces to store vegetables, milk, and butter long before refrigerators existed. But guess what? They're not just storage rooms, they're natural cooling zones, because the deeper you go into the earth, the more stable the temperature becomes. Below a certain point, it stays around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. That means if you step inside one on a 100-degree day, it feels like walking into a fridge. Now, most of us don't have a root cellar, but we can borrow the idea. If you have a basement, spend more time down there when it's hot. Keep doors open so the cool air can rise a bit. Or if you're building or renovating, consider adding thermal mass elements, like stone floors, brick walls, or even concrete countertops. These surfaces help balance out indoor temperatures without any energy use. Even small changes matter. A clay pot on your kitchen counter, a brick behind your plants. Yes, it makes a difference. This isn't magic. It's physics wrapped in tradition. And once you understand how it works, you'll see why Amish homes feel so different, even without power. 4. Evaporative cooling. Without electricity. Let's talk about something we all know, but rarely use to our advantage. Water. Yes, plain old H2O can be one of the most powerful tools for cooling your home, and the Amish have been using it for generations without plugging in a single machine. It's called evaporative cooling, and it works because when water evaporates, it pulls heat out of the air. That's why you feel chilly stepping out of a pool. That's why a breeze feels better when you're sweaty. The Amish use this exact principle to bring down indoor temperatures, and you can too. One of the simplest ways they do it? Wet cloths over windows. Yep, just soak a thick towel or sheet in cool water, wring it out a bit, and drape it over a screen or open window. As hot air passes through the damp fabric, some of that water evaporates. And just like that, the air cools down before it hits your face. It's not going to turn your house into a freezer, but on a dry, hot day, it can drop the temperature inside by 5 to 10 degrees. And if you pair it with cross-ventilation, even better. Another genius trick, clay pot coolers. They call it a desert fridge in some parts of the world, 2 clay pots, one inside the other, with sand and water in between. Put your fruits or veggies in the inner pot, cover it with a wet cloth, and as the water slowly evaporates, it keeps everything inside nice and cool. No ice, no electricity, just physics and a little patience. Some Amish families even place basins of water near open windows or doorways. As air moves through the room, it picks up moisture and drops heat. You don't need fancy equipment to try this at home. Grab a fan, set it in front of a bowl of water, and let it blow across the surface. You'll feel the difference almost instantly. Or try placing damp towels on a clothesline inside your house, especially in a hallway or doorway where air flows. Even sleeping with a wet sock around your wrist, yes, really, can help regulate body temperature on a sweltering night. This isn't just folklore, it's real science dressed in simplicity. And while it works best in dry climates, even in moderate humidity, it can make the heat feel more bearable. So before you reach for that AC remote, remember, sometimes the coolest solutions are the ones soaked in water. Number 5. Timing is everything. Daily routines to beat the heat. Let's talk about something we all have, but rarely plan around. Time. The Amish don't fight the heat, they work with it. And that means adjusting their daily routines to match the rhythm of the sun. They wake up early, like really early, before the heat builds up indoors. By 5 or 6 a.m., they're already outside getting chores done, cooking breakfast, or starting the day's work. Why? Because that's when it's coolest. And once the sun starts blazing, they slow down. No midday laundry, no big cooking sessions, no running around in the garden at noon. Instead, they rest, read, take naps, sit under shade trees. Let the house stay closed up while the sun's at its strongest. It's not laziness, it's strategy. Think about it. If your house gets super hot because you're letting the sun pour in during peak hours, maybe the answer isn't just about cooling it down. It's about avoiding the heat spike in the first place. So blinds go up in the morning and come down by midday. Windows open early and close before the afternoon bake begins. Even meals are timed differently. Big stoves and ovens, they generate heat, so the Amish cook early, then shut everything off until the day cools down. You can do this too. Try moving your biggest tasks to the morning. Get your cooking, cleaning and heavy work done before the house turns into a toaster oven. Then, when the sun hits full power, you're not adding fuel to the fire. And here's a bonus tip. Sleep better by waking up early and going to bed early. Your body adjusts. You avoid the worst of the heat. And suddenly, summer doesn't feel like punishment. This trick doesn't cost anything. No gadgets, no fans, no special tools. Just awareness. Knowing when to act and when to pause. That's how the Amish beat the heat without AC. Not by fighting nature, but by living with it. 6. Use light-coloured or reflective roofing. Let's talk about something most of us never think about. the colour of our roofs. You probably picked your house based on how it looks from the street, not from above. But the Amish, they know that what's on top makes a huge difference when it comes to heat. Dark roofs suck in sunlight like a sponge. All day long, they soak up the heat and then slowly drip it down into your home. That's why black or dark-coloured roofs can make your attic feel like a blast furnace, even if your AC is running full blast. The Amish avoid this by using light-coloured materials. Think white paint, light wood, or metal roofing with a reflective finish. It's not just about tradition, it's about physics. Light colours reflect the sun's rays instead of absorbing them. It's the same reason you wear a white shirt instead of black on a hot day. And trust me, over time, that difference adds up. Inside your home and on your electric bill. Some Amish communities even use galvanised metal roofs that shimmer in the sun. These surfaces bounce back heat so effectively that indoor temperatures stay noticeably lower, all without flipping a switch. Now, I know most of us aren't going to re-roof our houses tomorrow, but we can take inspiration from this idea. If you're building a shed, a porch, or doing any kind of outdoor structure, go light. You'll feel the difference. Or if you have access to your attic or rooftop, consider applying a reflective coating. These are specially designed paints or sprays that turn a regular roof into a heat blocker. They've been tested in places like Arizona and Texas. And guess what? Homes with these coatings saw indoor temps drop by several degrees, sometimes more. Even better, the cooler your roof stays, the less work your AC has to do. That means lower energy bills and longer-lasting equipment. And don't forget, walls matter too. Light-coloured siding reflects more heat than dark tones. So if you're painting the outside of your house anytime soon, think twice before choosing that deep navy or charcoal grey. Go lighter. Go reflective. Because when it comes to beating the heat, every little bit helps. 7. Install interior thermal curtains or blankets. Let's talk about something hiding in your house right now. That could be doing a lot more than you think. Your curtains. No, not just for privacy or decoration, but for temperature control. The Amish know this secret well. During the hottest parts of the day, they close thick curtains, blankets, or even quilts over windows. And it makes a surprising difference. Think of your windows like open doors for heat. Sunlight streams through the glass, turns into radiant heat inside your room, and suddenly you're roasting. But throw up a heavy curtain, that light gets blocked before it can turn your living room into a sauna. These aren't your average dollar store drapes either. We're talking thick, dense fabrics, sometimes layered, designed to absorb or block heat instead of letting it pass through. Some Amish families even use old wool blankets or handmade quilts during summer. They hang them over south or west-facing windows, the ones that get hit hardest by afternoon sun. And guess what? It works. You don't need to go full pioneer mode, though blackout curtains are basically modern versions of this trick. They're made with thermal lining that reflects heat instead of absorbing it. And if you close them early in the morning, before the sun starts baking your house, you stay ahead of the heat wave. It's all about timing and layers. Open them in the early morning to let in cool light. Then shut them tight once the sun climbs high. Even better, combine this with cross-ventilation at night. Let the cool air in after sunset. Seal it in with curtains during the day. That way, your home stays cooler longer, without running your AC non-stop. And if you live in an apartment or townhouse where big changes aren't allowed, this is the perfect fix. Just grab some thermal curtains online or from a home store and start using your windows as heat shields instead of heat traps. Because when it comes to staying cool without AC, blocking the sun is half the battle. 8. Build a cooling porch or outdoor living space host. sitting on a shaded porch with a fan gently blowing. Let's talk about something the Amish do almost every day, and it might be the secret to staying cool without AC. They spend time outdoors, not just for work, but for comfort. And one of their favourite summer spots? The cooling porch. It's not just a place to sip tea or rock in a chair. It's carefully designed to catch the breeze, avoid direct sun, and stay naturally comfortable all day long. Amish porches are often wide, deep, and covered, built to shade the house while giving the family a place to relax when indoors get too hot. Some even have screens to keep bugs out and fans to help move air around. But the real genius is how they use nature to their advantage. These porches face the direction where the wind usually blows. Trees or trellises are planted nearby to block afternoon sun. And sometimes vines grow up the sides for extra cooling power. The result? A space that feels like it has its own personal AC unit, even though there's nothing plugged in. And here's the kicker. You don't need a farmhouse or land to make this work. Even if you live in an apartment, you can create your own version of a cooling porch. Got a balcony? Add a small fan, some shade cloth or umbrella, and a few potted plants. Do you have a backyard? Set up a simple seating area under a tree or awning. Throw down a rug, add a fan, maybe a bowl of water nearby to boost evaporation. Suddenly, summer doesn't feel so punishing. This trick works because heat rises, and airflow cools you down faster than still air ever could. Plus, sitting outside in the evening instead of cranking the AC helps your home retain cooler air longer at night. So instead of fighting the heat inside, why not enjoy life outside? Your body will thank you. Your electric bill will thank you. And who knows? You might rediscover the joy of watching the sunset, listening to birds, or just enjoying a quiet moment without the hum of machines. That's the Amish way. Not avoiding summer, but learning to live with it, comfortably. 9. Use clay or sand-based cooling systems indoors. Let's talk about something old, but surprisingly smart. Clay, not just for pottery class, but for cooling. Amish families have been using clay pots, sand floors and water basins for generations to naturally regulate indoor temperatures. And guess what? It works. Clay is porous. That means it absorbs moisture from the air, or from a wet cloth wrapped around it, and slowly releases it as vapour. That process? Evaporation. And evaporation equals cooling. So if you place a clay pot filled with water in a room, or drape a damp cloth over one, the air around it actually gets cooler. It's like having a mini AC unit made out of dirt. Some Amish homes even use sand-covered floors. Sounds odd, right? But sand doesn't absorb and radiate heat the way concrete does. It stays cool to the touch and helps keep the whole room at a more stable temperature. Think of it like walking on a beach in the morning. Your feet feel that nice, cool layer just under the surface. That same idea works indoors too. And it's not just about comfort, it's about food storage. Before refrigeration, Amish families used clay jars and sand-lined storage bins to keep fruits, vegetables, and dairy products fresh. Layer some sand in a wooden box, add a little water, and stick in your produce. And it'll stay crisp longer. Even eggs were sometimes stored in sand-filled containers to prevent spoilage. Now, I know most of us aren't going to replace our kitchen floors with sand, but we can borrow the idea. Try placing a few clay pots around your house. Soak them in water first, then let them sit in a breeze. Or set up a small basin of water near an open window, maybe with some wet towels draped nearby. As the air moves through, it picks up moisture and drops heat. You'll be surprised how much difference it makes, especially if you pair it with cross-ventilation or thermal curtains. This isn't magic. It's science wrapped in tradition. And when it comes to beating the heat without electricity, sometimes the simplest tools are the best ones. 10. Plant vines or green walls for natural air conditioning. Let's talk about something that looks beautiful, but also works like magic. Plants. Not just any plants, vines. Amish families have been growing them for years, not just for food, but for cooling. They'll plant grapevines, morning glories, or even cucumbers along wooden trellises next to their homes. And by midsummer, those walls are covered in green. It might look pretty, but it's doing serious work. Think of those vines like nature's air conditioner. They block direct sunlight from hitting the walls. They release moisture into the air, and they create shade where there was none before. That triple combo makes a real difference in indoor temperatures, especially on the west and south sides of a house where the sun hits hardest. Now, you don't need an entire vineyard to make this work. Even a small trellis next to a window can help. As the vines grow up, they form a living curtain. In spring, they let in light. By summer, they're thick enough to block heat. Some Amish homes even use ivy-covered walls, both inside and out. That's right. Indoor vines aren't just for decoration. They help pull moisture from the air and keep rooms feeling fresh. Plus, plants naturally filter the air. So your home stays not only cooler, but cleaner too. If you live in a city or rent an apartment, this trick still works. Try setting up a small vertical garden on your balcony. Use pots with fast-growing climbers like beans or peas, or install a simple wireframe and train vines to grow up it. Within weeks, you'll notice a difference, especially if that wall used to bake in the afternoon sun. And here's a bonus. Green walls don't just cool your space. They reduce noise, improve air quality, and even boost your mood. Because being around plants feels good. So instead of fighting the heat with machines, why not team up with nature? Grow a little green. Let the vines climb. Watch your home stay cooler. Naturally. That's one last Amish-inspired secret for beating 120-degree heat without AC. Simple, smart, and totally doable. So there you have it. 10 real working Amish-inspired tricks that can drop your home temperature by up to 40 degrees, even when it's 120 degrees outside. From smart house placement and cross-ventilation to clay pots, green walls, and timing your day just right. These aren't just old traditions. They're time-tested, science-backed ways to stay cool without cranking the AC. And the best part? You don't have to live off-grid or give up modern comforts to use them. Just a few small changes, like adding thermal curtains, planting shade trees, or using evaporative cooling, can make a huge difference in your comfort and your energy bill. Whether you're a foodie who loves summer cooking but hates the heat, a budget-conscious viewer looking to cut utility costs, or someone who just misses the simple, clever hacks of the past, these tips are for you. Because sometimes the coolest solutions come from people who've been doing it for generations, without a single power outlet in sight. So if this video gave you some ideas, or if you already use one of these tricks at home, drop a comment below and tell me which tip surprised you the most. Did you try clay pot cooling? Have a vine-covered wall that keeps your room chill? Or maybe your grandparents had their own secret summer hack? I want to hear your stories, and I read every comment. Also, if you found this helpful, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you want more smart living tips, budget-friendly hacks, and nostalgic life tricks, go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and remember, beating the heat doesn't always mean turning on the AC. Sometimes all it takes is a little shade, a smart breeze, and a touch of tradition. Stay cool, everyone.